Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Coffee and Crypto. My name's Don. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching today's video. If you are watching it live, good morning. I hope you have your coffee ready, and well, I would say you're excited for today's episode. However, we do have an interesting episode regarding what's going on with crypto in the UK. So if you are a UK customer, then you do need to watch this episode in full to understand exactly what I mean. So, first of all, happy Monday. It's the start of a new week. Let's see where crypto takes us this week. It is the last week of September before we enter what some people would call as Uptober. So yeah, plenty more on that to come over the next few weeks. But anyway, like I said, last week of September, we're finally almost in quarter four. It's a bit of a relief. I will say that. But anyway, like I said, let's crack on. More on that to come in the next few weeks. Now, first things first, of course, if you're not already a member of our CC Pro Discord, then obviously you can join that today from the link in today's description. Again, over 2,000 active members each and every single day. You're pretty silly if you're not involved in crypto at this point. You're double as silly if you're not involved with some sort of Discord community. We are a long-standing 3+ year long Discord community, so we have served our purpose and we've seen it all. So yeah, we can definitely help out in some way. Now, in terms of the prices, we always start with the prices. Let me just quickly refresh today's market and have a look where things are at. So crypto is, it's not that exciting for a Monday, shall we say. But anyway, Bitcoin's currently sitting at $26,100. We then have Ethereum at $1,577. BNB at $209. We then have XRP at 49 cents. Cardano, 24 cents. Dogecoin at 0.06. Solana at $19.45. And then finally, we have Toncoin at $2.20. So, like I said, nothing too exciting happening at the moment. We are nearing the end of the month, so we should hopefully see a bit of action when the monthly candle closure comes in the next kind of 6 days from now, 5 days from now. So yeah, look out for that, because hopefully we will see a bit of a spike in the lead up to October. Now, news-wise, what's going on in crypto? So, like I said, with the start of today's video, and even the title of today's video, this isn't looking all that good for UK users of a certain exchange. You all know what I'm talking about. I'm going to dive into that in a lot more detail in a few minutes after I kind of work through a couple of other pieces of information or pieces of news that I want to cover. So the first thing, quite an interesting one. Now, we have openly spoke about Crypto.com for quite some time as the fact that we don't use them too much, or haven't really used them too much, and the reason for that is, well, they seemed like a great exchange back when they first launched. They had the kind of crypto card and stuff. They were one of the first exchanges, I guess, to do that. But then there was a bit of an issue with users potentially not getting access to their funds and so on and so forth. You remember that back about a year and a half, 2 years ago. But anyway, this is an interesting piece of news. A couple mistakenly sent $10.5 million by Crypto.com to face an October plea hearing. Now, you may have remembered we did cover this back, when it happened almost a year and a half ago, but it's now going to court, which, fair enough, if you got $10.5 million sent to your crypto exchange, you're going to want to try and keep it, even though it was a mistake. Anyway, check this out, pretty interesting. And I thought I'd start today's news with a little bit of kind of lighthearted news rather than jumping straight into why the UK is not looking so good. So the Melbourne couple, should we say, who accidentally received 10.5 million Australian dollars, that is, so only 6.7 million US, will be facing a plea trial in October for a theft charge after spending the funds that they received by mistake in 2021. So the couple then transferred the funds to, the one of them transferred the funds to the other one's account. However, the exchange detected that the bank account did not match the exchange account. Therefore, a refund was issued, but instead of refunding the $100 that the couple tried to put in, the exchange mistakenly sent them 10.5 million. Now, look, I don't even know how you get that wrong. Because even adding an extra zero to $100 is not anywhere near 10 million or 10.5. So I don't know what's happened or how someone at Crypto.com has done this. I'm assuming it was a manual transaction because, well, computers are code. The code couldn't get that wrong, surely. So a manual kind of payout has been done here. So mistakenly, 10.5 million rather than $100. Interesting. Anyway, it wasn't discovered for many months, almost 9 months after they were actually sent it. So this was obviously found out after the audit was done and whatever. When the fact that Crypto.com were like, right, cool, give me that money back, and the couple were like, sorry, we've spent it, then obviously a lawsuit came forth. So the couple had allegedly already gone on a spending spree before the mistake was discovered. The couple had reportedly bought 4 houses, vehicles and other items, as well as sending around 4 million Australian to a Malaysian bank account. One of the houses is a 5-bedroom property worth about 1.3 million 1.3 million Australian dollars, which was ordered by the court to be sold for the funds to be returned. So, look, fair play to the couple. They got the money sent to them by mistake. It went unnoticed for, about 9 months. By that time, they had already spent the majority of it, as well as sending was it half of it? Almost half of it? Yeah, 4 million. So almost half of the money was sent to a Malaysian bank account because they knew that if it's sent over to Asia and they're in Australia, it's probably going to be quite hard to get that money back out from that Malaysian bank, and I'm assuming their plans were to just kind of move over there at some point and have that 4 million Australian dollars just chilling in a bank. But yeah, what would you do? Because I know what I would do if I was mistakenly sent $10 million. Or let's make it more realistic. It was 6.7 million US. That's easier because we always work in US dollars. Australian dollars is fugazi. Like, it's, again, there's so many different currencies all over the place. Let's just use the GBP and USD. Let's just make life easier, right? So if you were sent $6.7 million to your crypto exchange by mistake and it went unnoticed, no one questioned you, there was no kind of email saying, oh, excuse me, miss or sir or whoever you are, we mistakenly sent you a bit of money, could you send us it back? Truthfully answer me. Drop a comment right now in the chat and let me see what you would do if someone or an exchange had mistakenly sent you almost $7 million. Because yeah, like I said, I know exactly what I would be doing. I would not be in the country for very long, put it that way. Anyway, like I said, it's went to court now because obviously Crypto.com want their money back. It was, I'm assuming, users' funds that they had sent. Another reason why I'm not a huge fan of Crypto.com, like, how can you mess that up? From $100 refund to $10.5 million. It's like, yeah. Alright, if you'd sent them back $1,000 instead of $100, maybe pressed 0 for too long, whatever. But yeah, it's just, there's no excuse. Anyway, in October of last year, the couple argued in court that they had won a prize from the crypto exchange. He claimed that he had previously received a notification from the company regarding a competition. However, Crypto.com compliance officer denied that such actual competition even existed. Flores noted that the exchange did not send such notifications to its users. Can you imagine that was even true? I mean, fair play to the guy trying to put that out there, but can you imagine? Oh yeah, I won a $10 million like giveaway. Like, no one's going to believe that, mate. But look, fair play. It's worth trying. Now, they were also charged with theft, which again, I can kind of understand it from the kind of legal law part of it, right? But That's insane. He had recently pleaded guilty to recklessly dealing with the proceeds of crime in September of this year. She was sentenced to an 18-month community corrections order, which includes 6 months of intensive compliance and unpaid community work, after she had already spent 209 days in custody. Meanwhile, Singh is set to plea trial this year, so that'll be next month. So yeah, it's pretty sad that this has all came about. But then again, it's like, should you have just done the right thing and sent the money back? But then you could argue, well, it was a mistake. It was crypto. It was given to me. I just assumed that it was for me. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, like I said, drop me some comments. Let me know what you would have done if an exchange had sent you $7 million. Because, well, like I said, I know exactly what I would have done. Okay, so Coinbase then. So Coinbase news, this was big news over the weekend because, well, I don't think people really understood quite how much holdings or power or actual Bitcoin that Coinbase hold within their kind of assets under management or whatever it may be. So Coinbase then, the headline reads, Coinbase holds 5% of all Bitcoin in existence. Now, this is an interesting story. So, blockchain intelligence platform Arkham recently identified that crypto exchange Coinbase holds almost 1 million Bitcoin in its own wallets. Now, these coins are worth more than $25 billion at the current market prices for Bitcoin. Now, bearing in mind, the current market price for Bitcoin is just above $26,000. Can you imagine how much that would be worth when Bitcoin was at its all-time high of $69,000? I'll let someone else do the maths on that. But according to Arkham, the exchange's holdings amount is almost 5% of all existing Bitcoin. Now, they also said that Coinbase holds a total of 947,755 Bitcoin. At the moment, Bitcoin circulating supply is around 19,493,537. To be exact. So yeah, it's big news. Like I said, doesn't really mean all that much in terms of changing the prices of your assets or whatever. I mean, I say this all the time. When I cover the news, Coffee and Crypto is a news channel, as I've mentioned many, many times in the past. So the main thing to remember here is this is to keep you up to date with what's going on in the world of crypto. It doesn't always necessarily mean that you're kind of investments are going to go up or going to go down or going to do anything. This is a kind of bit of information, and a lot of the information that I cover, I handpick it, obviously. And the reason I do that is because I feel like with the handpicked news that you need to be kept up to date with, it means that when you are starting to make investments or you're starting to learn more about crypto or whatever it may be, you've got a bit of background already and you know kind of what's going on in the market, when you should be pulling the trigger and when you should be learning. I mean, technically, you should be learning every single minute of the day, right? But when you do decide, at least with Coffee and Crypto, you've got that kind of push, a little bit of extra kind of information. And yeah, to me, personally, I think it's interesting and it's very, very key information to know who holds a lot of Bitcoin. Coinbase clearly holds a lot of Bitcoin. 5% of the whole circulating supply is a huge amount. So, yeah. Very interesting. They are a powerhouse. We already knew that, but they are a powerhouse in the crypto space. Now, furthermore, Arkham has also noted that it tagged and identified 36 million Bitcoin deposit and holding addresses used by the exchange. Now, Coinbase's largest cold wallet holds around 10,000 Bitcoin based on the exchange's last financial reports. And then the intelligence company believes that Coinbase has more Bitcoin that are not yet labelled and could not be identified. Now, again, it's absolutely insane, but whilst they hold, like I said, 25 or over $25 billion in Bitcoin wallets, the exchange only owns around 10,000 of all the Bitcoin that it holds, which is roughly $200 million. So yes, they have 25 billion kind of in their wallets. That doesn't mean that they own them. Obviously, they need to have liquidity as a massive exchange. They need the liquidity. How do you provide liquidity? Well, you need to hold a lot of that asset class, i.e. Bitcoin, and well, Coinbase aren't shy of that. And the reason people, I mean, again, depending on who you watch on YouTube, but many of the big guys out there, especially our good friend Mitch Ray, will use Coinbase charts. There's loads of charts you can use, to be honest, but a lot of people will base it on Coinbase charts, especially in the US, and that's down to liquidity. It's not everyone uses the exchange as such, but because of the liquidity that they have such a user base, like a large user base across the globe. There's a lot of activity, therefore there's a lot of history and a lot of accurate price kind of action on Coinbase charts. And well, you can kind of see why now. Hopefully you understand why now, because they have a lot of liquidity, and it's because they own, well, the majority of the kind of circulating supply of Bitcoin. But yeah, so there you go. There's the Coinbase news. Coinbase holds, well, it's confirmed so far that they hold 5% of all Bitcoin in existence. Must be nice. Okay, so let's dive into the title of today's video, that this is not a good thing for crypto in the UK. Or is it? Let's explain further. So, you may have seen this on Friday, and anyone that is in our CC Pro Discord community, I know most of you who are watching this are. If you aren't, like I said, there is a description link below where you can, there's a link in today's description, I said that strange, that you can join our Discord and be kept up to date before anyone else in the space. So anyway, Bybit will suspend services in the UK following the financial regulator's final warning. Now, this has been going on for quite some time now, but there is a final warning for October 8th. Let me dive into it and explain in a bit more detail. So, Dubai headquartered cryptocurrency exchange Bybit has announced the suspension of services in the UK in response to pending rules in the country's FCA, or from the FCA. So, Bybit has clearly stated on Friday it will start suspending services in the UK for residents on October 1st by no longer allowing new account applications. This will be followed by a suspension of new deposits, new contracts, and changes to positions for existing users on October 8th. Now, in light of the UK's Financial Conduct Authority's information or introduction of new rules regarding marketing and communication by crypto businesses, Bybit has made a choice to embrace the regulation proactively and pause our services in this market, said the firm on Friday. Now, here is the tweet that they had put out, and there was a link to the full kind of breakdown on the app as well, so hopefully you've seen that already. But Bybit's date to wind down these services will fall in line with the FCA's deadline for crypto asset firms marketing to users in the UK to be in compliance with certain rules aimed at providing clear, fair and not misleading marketing regimes. Now, the FCA first announced its rules in June and issued additional warnings on September 21st, reminding firms of the October 8th deadline and the risk of criminal charges. Now, according to Bybit, the suspension of services will allow the company to focus on its efforts and resources, being able to best meet the regulation outlined by the UK authorities in the future. Now, the FCA has suggested that certain firms could have until January of 2024 to be in compliance with the marketing rules, but would need prior approval from the regulator. Now, also, Bybit has announced a similar winding down services in Canada back in May. Again, I covered this back it wasn't on Coffee and Crypto, but we covered this back in Discord and on our Instagram, on Twitter, that they cited that recent regulatory development at the time, that's why they were kind of closing down in Canada as well. However, the firm has expanded into new markets. That includes Kazakhstan, where it has received an in-principle approval to operate as a crypto custody service provider back in May. So, for the company of Bybit, obviously it's not looking all that good, and as we like to say on this channel, it is not looking good, bruv. Yeah, it's not looking good for Bybit's community in the UK at the moment. Now, bearing in mind, one key thing I want to kind of point out here is they are proactively doing this. So I've spoken to other exchanges, and other exchanges aren't doing anything at the moment. So a few other exchanges that we have spoken to in the past and we have shared on the channel in the past as well, similar to how Bybit work. I spoke to a few of the guys obviously over the weekend, and they have assured me that nothing is changing yet at the moment. Again, Bybit, are doing it proactively, not reactively, which, don't get me wrong, I do speak about that quite a lot on the channel, where people need to be more proactive. I'm just a bit gutted that it was Bybit that decided to be a bit more proactive and decide to suspend services. Now, bear in mind, this says they are suspending services. They're not cancelling, stopping, whatever other kind of end word that you want to use. So they are suspending. So let me just get into this in a bit more detail. So, like I said, a suspension of services has happened before. Now, Bybit did suspend services in the UK for derivatives trading. Don't know if you remember that. But the reason for that was, again, because of regulatory issues from the FCA and warnings that were given by the FCA. Now, this time it is slightly different because, well, the FCA have made it very, very clear that, yes, you had warnings before, you had advice before, but from October 8th, the rules are in place. If you don't fall in with these rules, then you're going to have a kind of criminal offence put against you. Now, I strongly believe that a lot of it is a bit of kind of fear getting put out. Don't get me wrong, I don't want to mess with them anyway, but I understand Bybit's proactive kind of movement in the market because, well, like I said, a big exchange like Bybit are going to lose out on a lot of new customer acquisitions in the UK. They are huge. They're one of the biggest and kind of largest exchanges of their kind and have been one of the longest standing. Obviously, we've used them for such a long time, and I know many of you have as well. So the main point I want to try and make here about the Bybit kind of services in the UK, it is a suspension, so they've not cancelled it. They're proactively suspending services for now for new UK kind of registrations, and then for current kind of current people who use the exchange, it will be kind of suspended again up until, well, January really. But then there will be like a 3-month suspension put in place where, again, they're going to use these next 3 months to really work with the regulators to try and get themselves back on board. This doesn't mean that it's over for crypto. So I have seen a lot of chat in Discord and on Twitter and everywhere else that this is the end, that it's over for crypto. I'm starting to get worried. It's like blah, blah, blah. There's so much going on, and I understand it, right? Don't get me wrong. A lot of it will be fear. Like I said, it's new. It's been upcoming for a few months now. So the deadline is finally here. So we're at peak fear. However, there are ways around this. There are plenty other exchanges out there that will take your assets until Bybit have kind of sorted out their licenses. Trust me when I say this, Bybit do not want to leave the UK customers. The UK customer base is absolutely huge for Bybit. They do not, I don't know why I said that so funny. They do not want to lose UK customers, but as a company of their size, especially when it comes to the law side of things, they don't want to be messing with the law and the financial laws. So a suspension is a good thing. They're not cancelling. A suspension is a good thing. I know that sounds a bit kind of, oh, hang on a minute, that's a bit backwards, but a suspension is a good thing when it comes to things like this because they need to proactively work with regulators to figure out, right, how can we follow the rules and make sure that we can still be compliant, still offer services, and come back bigger and better than ever. So I guess I'm here to tell you that, look, I know it looks doom and gloom, right? Don't get me wrong, and it's a bit of an upset. Obviously, we had, and we still do have a very close connection with Bybit. We recently launched our basket with Bybit as well. Again, we're still waiting to hear back from the team. They haven't mentioned anything yet in terms of what that will look like or anything. But again, with CC Pro members, of course, I know a lot of you are asking many, many questions, and we are looking into it in the kind of background. It's all just happened at once, so it's we're trying to kind of scatter quickly and figure out what's actually going on. But yeah, look, first of all, you've got plenty of time. If you are a current user of Bybit, you have until January to actually remove your assets if you're going to do that, if that's what your plans are. But don't all rush in at once. I mean, don't get me wrong, do what you want, right? But the point I'm trying to make is people will panic and it will cause mass panic. But for now, the news has just been released. We are, again, working closely with Bybit to try and figure out what's going on in terms of the basket. It still all stands. The plans are still there. And look, see if the worst comes to the worst. It's not the end of the world because we can still figure out another exchange that will do exactly the same thing. And we'll make sure that you, if you are a Discord user and you're watching this, or you are part of the basket, have no fear, we will figure it out. As always, we always come up with a plan to make sure that you are kind of put at the kind of priority list. So yeah, anyway, hopefully that's the kind of update that you wanted and you needed. And like I said, we're working with other exchanges in the background, potentially trying to sort something out and kind of hoping for, a smooth transition. But just to reiterate, it's a suspension, it's not a cancellation, it's nothing as negative as that. They're proactively working with regulators to ensure that they can still comply with the UK and offer you and I, because I use Bybit, the actual services that they need. So yeah, hopefully that helps put your mind at ease. Okay, so moving in to some other bits of information I want to show you. So there's not any more kind of news articles as such. Just a very interesting, I spoke about this last week about the mainstream media, but quite an interesting chart here from the mainstream media versus Bitcoin and a few things that they have said. Check this out if it will load. Is it going to load? There we go. So again, what I would do is pause today's video and screenshot this and zoom in because I don't know how large it will show kind of on your screen. But anyway, the kind of gist you'll get here without I'll kind of zoom through this, but the kind of general gist that you'll get from this is that whenever the mainstream media say that Bitcoin is doomed or it's bad, it's going down, it tends to go up. Kind of does the opposite. So for example here, this is January back in 2016. Many of you won't have seen this. I didn't even see this because I didn't get involved in crypto until 2017. But in January of 16, is the cryptocurrency doomed? And that was again back before the massive bull run that we've seen in 2017. Now in January 2018, just after Bitcoin had topped, CNBC said that Bitcoin is headed to $100,000 in 2018, says an analyst who predicted the last year's price rise. Well, clearly that was not the case, and it goes to show you that the mainstream media will drag you in different directions to make you buy when you should be selling and make you sell when you should be buying. It is the blueprint of how the mainstream media works. The next one here was in December 2018 from The Independent. It says Bitcoin's price predictions for 2019 from $0 to $36,000. Experts make their crypto forecasts. Now again, from there, obviously what happened in March 2020, well, we've seen the crash and then we've seen the almighty run in 2021. And yeah, again, like I said, you're probably better just screenshotting this image, zoom in, look at the chart, how it performed at these little circles here, the greens and the reds, and then look at what the mainstream media were tweeting out at the time. Again, it goes to show you that the mainstream media will tell you the opposite. So you don't really want to follow the mainstream media. I guess that's the moral of today's kind of story. This one again, I know I'm telling you to do a lot of screenshotting, but trust me, it will help you a lot more. This one again, just an interesting kind of chart, the way it's kind of put out. Again, I always like charts like this. I bring them up quite often of like comparisons. I like to show you like the previous bull runs, and this one here in particular goes all the way back to 2011. So you're seeing bear markets, pre-bull markets, first bull and second bull. And that's the way you see kind of like double tops and stuff like that. But like I said, screenshot this one, get it saved on your phone. It's again an interesting chart to show you all the different chart behaviors that we've seen since 2011 in the different market types. It also shows you how long the market cycles clearly are and how long the bear markets clearly are. Now, 2023, for me, in my opinion, is the pre-bull. And again, it's marked on this as the pre-bull as well. And that's just based off of what I've seen history do in crypto and how I've seen kind of bear markets perform into bull markets. That's my personal opinion. There's no guarantee on that. There's no advice that I can give you on that. Now, it's just my opinion. But look, I like how it looks, and hopefully you do as well. Now, the last and final one I want to show you would be the halving. So, we talk about the halving quite a lot. Let me just load this up for you right now. Here we go. So, again, what I'll jump straight to is this part right here. You can clearly see the halving comes at, well, we're almost there, basically. But what tends to happen, again, based on history, what tends to happen is the halving arrives and then we start to see an almighty run in price over the kind of next 18 months from that. And hopefully, in my opinion, I don't see why it would be different this time. Many analysts will say that the halving doesn't matter. It's not about that. It's a 7-year super cycle. The 4-year cycles don't matter. Blah, 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 blah. The main thing I would say is, of course, think for yourself. But in my personal opinion, I believe in the Bitcoin halving rewards. I believe that they do play a key part in the price of Bitcoin and the price of crypto in general. Why do I say that? Well, I make it very, very basic, very, very clear. I just look at what happened the last 3 halvings. I know that sounds pretty straightforward, and it is, but look at the previous halvings that have happened already, and then look what happened 18 months, well, throughout the 18 months after that halving. That's it. That's as simple as I can make it. And I know that doesn't sound like rocket science, and it's because it's not. People just try and overcomplicate it because they live in crypto day in, day out. They look at charts day in, day out. And don't get me wrong, charts are very, very powerful, and it's one of the main things you need to learn about in crypto. Learning about the news is great. Again, I've mentioned this before in today's episode, but that isn't going to necessarily mean that you can buy or sell, potentially. You really need to know chart behavior, how charts work, how markets work, how the world of money works in general before you start making investments. Now, also before you start making investments, obviously make sure that you actually understand what you're investing in. Don't just invest blindly because someone told you to do it. Remember, your capital is always at risk. There is no guaranteed return in investments, especially in crypto, with it being so highly volatile and so highly risky. So yeah, please ensure that you do your own research, you educate, you understand what you're investing in before you put any money in this market. Again, I know I make that clear very much so every video, but I do need to make sure that you do understand that because it is a very volatile place to be. Emotions will run high. And, well, I can already tell, I've seen it the past few months, people's emotions are at an all-time high because they're just bored of the market. Now, many things that I've said the past few weeks with crypto, especially in September, I know you're probably bored of me talking about September. We've only got a week left. So I promise I will not talk about it as much after the end of the week, but I've already seen it myself. I've been in this market a long time. We fortunately have a massive community now and a massive following online, so we see everyone's different types of emotions. I get to meet people in person. They tell me how they're feeling about crypto, and look, I get it. I feel the exact same way because don't forget, I am an investor at the end of the day, so I feel the same emotions that everyone else feels. Just because I come up and do these coffee and crypto episodes every other day doesn't mean that I'm bulletproof. I have the kind of rocky emotions that you do as well, but I just fight through it because I know I've been here before and I've just kind of got on with what I need to do. And look, it can pay off if you're willing to accept that emotions will run high and crypto will run low at the same time. So your emotions will be at its peak and Bitcoin will be at its lows. It's funny how that works, but is that a buy signal? I'll let you decide. But anyway, like I said, I've been here before. I'm still going through that exact same emotional change as all of you watching this today. I personally believe, based on what I've experienced in the past kind of 7 or almost 7 years in crypto, is that this time of the year in a bear market, it's the toughest of all times. Even if crypto was going down, it would be more exciting. So if Bitcoin was crashing to like $15,000, it would be more exciting and more people would be active and on board with crypto than they are now, which I know that sounds really strange because Bitcoin's currently trading at $26,000. That's way above the all-time high even of 2017 when people thought, wow, like this is amazing. Like I've bought it at this much, it's now went to this much. How can it get any better than this? we're only kind of, well, a 3x, less than a 3x away from the all-time high. Like, you need to understand these numbers are minuscule. I know $26,000 seems like, well, nothing compared to $69,000 that it was at just 2 years ago. But on the grand scheme of things, like I said, $26,000 for a Bitcoin is massive, especially the fact that it's only 11, 12 years old. Like, the actual movement in this space is like no other, and it's why I'm so passionate. It's why I show up every single day and I still talk about crypto every single day, whilst many people, thousands of people that have came and gone, decide to just jump in and jump out. I don't do that. I don't do walking away from crypto as much as sometimes I feel like I should, because it would do my mental health a bit better. But I'm silly enough to continue to show up and be present and just continue the graft that I need to kind of put in to, get what I want from crypto. And I think you should as well. Don't let your emotions kind of be the barrier between you and learning about a new asset, because, well, I didn't, and look, it worked. Let's put it that way. But it did come with a lot of stress, a lot of education, a lot of time spent. But yeah, I guess I'm living proof to show you that if you battle through your emotions that you're probably feeling right now, you'll come out the other end much, much stronger. But yeah, anyway, that was quite deep, but hopefully it helps. Hopefully it kind of helps set your mind a little bit or looking forward to the future of what's coming in this market. It's been a long 2 years since we've seen the all-time high in Bitcoin. I get that, but if you've stuck around, well done. I applaud you. If you're just coming back, again, I applaud you. That's fine. Welcome back. It's good to have you back. We are hopefully going to have an Uptober, as we like to call it, in my opinion. But yeah, stick around and we'll see if that's the case. But yeah, like I said, that's all for today's episode of Coffee and Crypto. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching today's video. If you did enjoy the video, please, of course, drop me a like, drop me a comment, and let me know of any points in today's video that you enjoyed. Remember, if you were wrongfully deposited almost $7 million by an exchange, what would you have done? Would you have done what the Australian couple did and spend it all? Because I feel like that's what I might have done. But yeah, I'm interested to know if someone or an exchange had sent you mistakenly almost $7 million, what would you do with that money? And yeah, that's all for me today. I will see you all on Wednesday for the next episode of Coffee and Crypto. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, a great morning, great afternoon, great evening, whatever time it is that you are watching this. I will see you all very, very soon. See ya.